welcome to the final episode of Video Vantage, your insider guide to video marketing. I'm your host, Mark O'Connor, and in this episode, we're going to be talking about the video production process itself. Over the course of Video Vantage, we've covered all of the elements that inform the video production process, the business justification, the beginning of a video project, and the preparation that goes into appearing on camera. But a lot of people aren't actually aware of what actually goes on behind the scenes once a video project has been given the go-ahead. What does a video project actually look like from a video producer's point of view? And what factors can influence the cost of a video project? To help explain this and more, I'm joined by fellow video producer Paul McDermott, with whom I've had the pleasure of working with on a number of occasions. Paul is an award-winning documentary filmmaker and video producer, and he heads up Social Video HQ, a company he founded in 2019, having previously run a wedding film business since 2010. Over the years, Paul has worked with a wide range of organisations such as the IFA, the HSE, the ESRI, as well as multinationals like Digital Realty. With these clients, he has produced everything from promo videos to animated video explainers. Paul, you're very welcome to Video Vantage. Thanks for joining us. Can I kick things off by asking you what got you into video production to start with?
Mark, thanks for inviting me here. We've collaborated a good bit in the last year or two, and it's great to be sitting here chatting to you about all things video.
Yeah, well, it's our favourite subject.
Yeah. It's we live and breathe it.
Exactly. Can't get enough of it.
So this is my origin story, right? And
in the MCU,
how I got here. So I was a TEFL teacher in Dublin, and there was a place in the centre of Dublin called Filmbase, and where you could learn filmmaking. And I said to my then girlfriend, now wife, I'm really interested. I might just give this a go. And she was like, just go and do it. So I did it. It's an intensive course, how to make a short film, and I directed one of the shorts we made.
Oh, right. Okay, very good. So that was a good learning curve.
Such a learning curve, because it was intensive weekends, but we also worked outside of that, and I truly got the bug from there. So made a few more shorts. Then realised I knew nothing about cameras and audio and all the stuff you need to know.
The technical side of things, yeah. So the artistic, creative side was always there, but then trying to match it up to the technical. Yeah.
So just got a tape camera then. So it was a HDV camera at the time, before
Classic.
SD cards, and then just started doing small jobs. That became a wedding business.
Right.
And I did that for about 10 years. Tough industry. A lot of hours on the go, but you really learn your craft there.
You learn on your feet. Yeah.
And yourself, Mark, dealing with people as well. You learn how to interact with people, how to get the best from them as well.
That's the thing. A lot of people don't realize that, there is the creative and technical aspect, but it is a people business at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
And trying to manage everyone, and, things are on fire in the background. Don't look there. Everything's fine. Yeah. Trying to keep everyone calm, collected, and
happy.
And happy, yeah.
Yes.
And it shows up in the end result of whatever project you're looking at. People are happy. That comes across on camera as well. I suppose we'll discuss that later on as well, but it helps bring the whole thing together.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Because it shouldn't, being in a video or working around video, it should be an enjoyable process.
Yeah, it can be stressful, definitely. It can be intimidating initially, but depending on who's behind the camera, it can help put people at ease.
Let us be stressed, not our clients.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm stressed today being on camera, so now I know what it's like. But
we've allowed ourselves to be on the other side of the camera.
Yeah.
Mark, how did you get into it?
Yeah, I've always been passionate about video production. I guess as a kid, what got me the bug, as you described, Star Wars. Yeah.
Okay.
The Phantom Menace came out when I was a kid, and I know that film gets a lot of slack.
Yeah.
I loved it. I went to see it 6 times when it came out. So God help my mum and dad, they had to put up with Jar Jar Binks for 6 times in a row. But from there, I just was always interested. Like, wow, how did it do that? You can imagine, 6-year-old lasers and all the rest, But that's what got me interested.
Yeah.
I've always been interested in the kind of the technical side of things.
Yeah.
In school, I did technology and physics and all that as well. So that kind of engineering-ish
in that area
was always there.
Yeah.
But always interested in photography, cinematography, all that type of stuff as well.
Yeah.
Remember, always borrowing my mom's camera phone. Remember the flip phones when they came out? Yeah. Trying out different bits and pieces, making short films at home as a kid. And then as I got older, I said, this is something I want to pursue professionally. I wasn't sure what form that would be, but I knew it was something I wanted to do. So I did a creative digital media marketing degree in ITT. or Technology University Dublin as it's called now, I think. So that's a 4-year bachelor's course, and that was great. Up until then, I'd never touched Photoshop or anything like that. So it was always just, doing stuff my way. But then I learned the professional way of doing these things and exposure to all forms, photography, video, audio production as well.
Yeah.
And you can really go into the niche to see what you want to do. So
it gives you time.
Exactly, yeah. Kind of what you described, learning on your feet as you go. You get exposure to everything. You might have a great idea. Do I have the skill to pull it off?
Yeah.
And then you research that side. And it gets, you're working with other like-minded people. People have their own favorite things. One guy might be more interested in audio, more interested in the video side of things. Those two guys have to work together in order to make the final result. So it's all
and you learn by being with people who are more expert than you in a certain area.
Exactly, yeah.
Just working with them, you learn and
it's
learn
always
and learn.
learning. Every project's different. Even if, the same application, same tools, every project's different. Each thing has its own challenges. So that's why it's always good to keep you on your feet as well. You can't take anything for granted.
Yeah.
But following on for that then, I worked in the marketing sector for a good few years. And then during the pandemic, I was laid off. But because I was with the company so long, I got a decent redundancy package. And I said, right, it's now or never. Let's do this. So I invested in some new equipment, and that's how Media Mill came to be. And through Media Mill, met the likes of yourself, met Dave, our camera crew as well. So it's just been great of working as collaborators in different projects.
Yeah. And that's, I think that's a key thing. A lot, maybe before, a lot of people in our industry wanted to silo what they were doing, but actually you grow and work on bigger projects by working with others.
Work together, exactly.
Yeah.
I suppose that will bring us on to our next point then. Working together, teamwork is an important part of the job.
Yeah.
What do you think is the most important part of the job overall, say from a client perspective? What do they not realize in terms of behind the scenes work?
Yeah, so I think we discussed this before, but like so you have two types of clients, right? So you have clients that have got work done before, so they have some idea.
They're used to the process to a certain extent.
Absolutely, yeah. To a certain extent, depending on who they worked with. And then you have total newbies who have no clue. So really you have to bring them along in the process.
You kind of have to hold their hand to
and explain to them all the different facets. But I think the most common question is, how much is this going to cost?
Yeah.
And the most common answer is, how long is a piece of string?
Exactly, yeah. What seems like a small project behind the scenes actually could be quite a big project. The example I always like to give is your 2-minute promo video.
Yeah.
That might take 10 times more work than a 1-hour conference of a guy speaking at a podium, just because of the different moving parts in it.
Yeah, and exactly. So a very, for anybody looking at this and just thinking how much, you have to think about how many hours are involved, and that's not just on the day.
It's not what you see on set. It's before and after.
It's all the pre-planning that's involved, and then all of the editing and graphics work at the end.
Yeah,
and how many people are there during the day, and how many people are working on it in the background afterwards. So that will get, if you just think of that, it'll give you a good idea of how much a project is going to cost.
I suppose the best way to explain for people who aren't aware, video production is actually 3 parts of production.
Yeah.
Pre-production, production itself, and post-production. So pre-production is all the planning, scripting, the brainstorming phase, the research. It might be securing venues, all that type of stuff, the logistical side of things. Production then is what you see on the day when lights, camera, action, all that type of stuff. And then post-production is the editing process, bringing it all together like one big jigsaw piece. Like
absolutely, and bringing in the different facets as well, because you might be getting some graphics or animation work done. You might be getting some voiceover work done as well. So then it's, you're bringing it all to your timeline, creating drafts, getting sign-offs. And
working with maybe a marketing department as well, making sure everything is on brand, the guidelines all
well, we work with marketers mainly.
Yeah, we are marketers, I guess, but we're like a subdivision of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where does a project come together? What's the most important part? What makes or break a video project?
Yeah, so we mentioned the 3 different parts, right?
Yeah.
So pre-production, production, and post-production or editing, right? And most people think it's the lights and cameras and the editing, but actually pre-production is as important, okay? And I suppose we could just go through it in a bit detail just to let people know, because I suppose it's the part that people know the least about, and
it's where the most hold-ups can be.
Absolutely, and a good pre-production means a good shoot, the whole process, means a great shoot, and means a great finished product. So with the pre-production, the first thing is the discovery call, and this is where the likes of myself and yourself, we become experts on whatever subject we're going to be working on.
Ideas will be thrown at you and you have to distill it into, okay, how will we approach this?
Yeah, and we go and do our research as well,
Yeah.
So we're in the background finding out about this company, this area, what they want. And then we have the discovery call where we talk to their marketing people, where we talk to the business owners, we listen for phrases that will work, and we start to formulate ideas, right? And we're bouncing these ideas off them as well. So this is where we give our expertise and our knowledge.
And then that later informs, you might have a brief at that point, but that will inform a more detailed brief thereafter. And from my perspective, that's the most important part. It helps you get a sense of what's the client looking for, what's their expectations, where do I fit into that?
Yeah. So you brought up the brief, right?
Yeah.
So we should have put that first, right? Yeah. And I've talked on a few podcasts about this as well, right? So how important is a detailed brief? Because we get requests for quotes all the time, right? And
it could be as simple as I need a video. Okay.
Need a video, and we're
what's that mean? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk, right? But the more detailed the brief, just from a customer's point of view, right? The more detailed the brief you have, and if you send that out for quote, then you can start to compare the quotes, the replies that you get. So we want to know exactly what's in your mind, examples maybe online.
Exactly.
Similar
Reference
work.
material really helps.
It really
gives you a
helps.
sense of the pace, the style, the overall flow of what they have in mind, and how does it fit into what the objective is.
Yeah, absolutely. And so then we can start to equate what level of production you're looking for.
Exactly. Yeah.
So detailed brief. So if nobody takes anything else from our conversation today, as people looking for video production companies, the more detailed you can be, the better the quotes you receive back.
The better the quotes, the more detailed the quotes will be, and overall, the better the end result. You're going to get what you're looking for. I think the worst type of brief you can get is, I need a video, don't care what it looks like, and no matter what you do, then afterwards, that's not what I'm looking for. That's not what I'm looking for.
Yeah. So that's like searching in a haystack for an answer.
Yeah. A needle in a haystack, exactly. Yeah.
And I suppose then, as something that you talked about as well, is location scouts.
Yes, location scouts are very important. There's all sorts of different variables. Like I was saying earlier, each shoot is different. So a lot of stuff I would do would be on location, a lot of conferences, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And always I'm looking out for, okay, what are the practicalities of setting up there? Is there enough space for the equipment? Is there any noise interference, for example? Air conditioning, fans. We had a fan going here earlier just to keep the heat in the room, but obviously we switched it off for this recording session now. So it is getting a little bit cooler, but that's okay. Is there space for the equipment, noise interference, other bits and bobs as well? If, like, for example, a conference, an event, is that room available for setup?
Yeah.
Because setup might take an hour, might take 2 hours, might take 3 hours, depending on what it is. Kind of get access to that space.
And also, because we're looking to show the business in its best aspect, right? So we want, if we're doing an interview or our Vox Pops, we want to put the client with a nice background. Not too much. If it's a conference, noise in the background, and is there building work going on nearby?
Well, that's it. Yeah, that's a classic case of if there's roadworks and there's a jackhammer going on the side.
Yeah.
They're the things you need to look into.
It's audio visual.
Yeah, exactly. You need to ring ahead. And that's the thing, audio is half a video. And if it doesn't sound good, no one's going to watch it. You can get away to a certain extent with visuals that maybe aren't 100%, as long as the information, you can hear it. But yeah, it's part of the package. If you can't see it or listen to it, what's the point?
Yeah. So it might be a small extra cost to do it, but overall, for having a great shoot, to have that location scout done is fantastic.
Yeah. You're troubleshooting before you get there, basically. You're solving all the potential problems before you get there, and just makes the overall shoot much more seamless. You know exactly what you're doing. Like you said, you might be going to site a week in advance to get a feel for the space, so you know exactly where you're going to set up. Or depending on the situation, you might be able to do that virtually as well on your client calls. Get the camera on
360
the phone.
cameras, 360 cameras and stuff like that.
You're also looking for power sockets to power all the equipment, all that type of stuff as well, and then just making sure the camera angles, the lines, the fields of view all line up as well.
And then pre-production, there's the boring stuff, creating shot lists and schedules. right? And
Ticking them off as you go along. Yeah.
absolutely, because you do forget, because you're moving and you're moving equipment and dealing with a lot of different people on the day. So yeah, you need to be ticking off the shots as you get them, and you also need to allocate the correct amount of time, which comes with experience, to know, like, okay, this interview part will take 2 hours, for setup.
Of which 40 minutes might be the actual interview itself, because it's set up and then breakdown afterwards. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So like, and I think we'll probably come to this because it's so important. Like, to set up for an interview, you're looking at least an hour
Minimum. Yeah.
and it depends, like this setup here, this is probably more than an hour.
Yeah, this was about 2 hours between getting here, getting all the gear in from the cars and setting up, and then troubleshooting as well.
Yeah. And I suppose one other thing is, if you are getting a business owner who's speaking on camera for the first time, sometimes they need a bit of training, so, and that can be done in person or online, running through scripts.
Exactly, ahead of time, getting them used to the questions they're going to be asked.
Yeah.
And how they're going to answer them. And the example I always like to give is include the question in the answer, because that helps in the edit after fact. So if I ask you what your favorite color was, say it was blue.
Yeah.
If you just said blue, okay, when it comes to editing, like, there's nothing for me to work there, but my favorite color is blue. Then it makes sense within the context of the video. So
yeah, because we'll talk about the scripting process, but I've often had clients who we have the script prepared, and then we hop on our call to run through the script, and then they realize in the call, oh, actually, I don't know that script.
Yeah.
And that's great, because they're not realizing that on the shoot.
Because it will show you. Yeah.
Yeah. So they have time to go off and get it into their head.
Yeah.
We are script writers now.
Pretty much.
By taking on this job. That's what we become,
Yeah.
So it's not related to cameras, but it's related to what's said on camera.
Yeah.
So with experience, we know our hooks, we know what the client's trying to get across. We know how to condense and simplify, And,
keep it simple, keep it smart. Yeah.
Keep it smart. So we download all that information from the discovery, and we produce draft scripts, and we bat them back and forth. So that's a really important phase in the pre-production.
And get it done well ahead of time, because then the client has time to familiarize themselves with the scripting as well.
Yeah, and I suppose as well, just to say, then we have our shot lists, our schedules, our scripts, so we know who has to be there on the day. Everybody knows what they're doing on the day, and
yeah, the last thing you want is people waiting around. Yeah, because the longer you're waiting, the less enthusiasm there is, and the more delays there are then as well. So it's keeping the cogs turning all the time. Yeah, it's very important. It's very important for keeping a production day in process, basically, making sure you get everything on time. Yeah, time is money, as they say.
That's burning money. I think
burning money. Yeah,
filmmaking. That's what they say. Once you're in production, you're burning.
You're burning money. Yeah. Well, speaking of production, then, when it comes to production day itself, what's the best way to prep a client for it?
Yeah, so I think your pre-production should have sorted that out. So they should have schedules and shot lists. They should have their scripts. Everybody that's there should know what they're doing, okay? And be happy with that as well. And that's where your planning comes in. And so you're going around, and often we're carrying around sheets of paper, just ticking off things and making sure that we're getting everything. And also just being that center of calm.
Yeah.
And exuding calmness for our clients, so that, number one, they're calm. Number two, they're kind of happy and having fun, because it's something different.
It is. It's a break from the norm, definitely.
Yeah, it's a break from the norm. And I think I learned this from being a wedding videographer. I'm coming into houses in the morning, and sometimes the mood might be off, and just coming in and being that center of lightness, And I think we have to be like that on shoots as well. We've got to exude that. And that comes with time and experience.
Mm-hmm. Another important part of pre-production that ties into production is that it informs the necessary crew and equipment that's needed in order to pull off the shoot successfully. And that's another factor that clients would have to consider in terms of the cost as well, because you have extra manpower on set, extra gear, maybe gear is being rented, all that type of stuff, travel expenses. If you're doing a promo video for a company and you need to go to 5 different locations to show off whatever the warehouse or equipment they have as part of their promo video,
it's time.
Yeah, exactly. So that might be a case of getting extra crew to go to 2 different locations at the same time to capture more content. Yeah, all that type of stuff as well. So that's just other things to consider as well.
Yeah, like, so we collaborate regularly, okay? Yeah. And for a videographer to be on site and doing interviews, for example, they're looking after cameras, they're looking after audio, and they're trying to direct the person in front of the camera. So that's a lot of hats to wear.
It is, yeah. It's a lot of pressure. Yeah.
Yeah. So if we work together as a duo often, right, and that splits it, so that we really can make sure that we are getting
We're both doing our best jobs, exactly.
Absolutely, and there is little or no chance of us missing something.
Yeah,
and that's important. So sometimes having that extra person on set really helps.
Yeah. And with all that experience then of working on set in all sorts of different locations, I suppose you've learned a lot of tips and tricks over the years then as well. What's your favorite one? I remember we were on a shoot recently and we had a person giving an interview and their hair was a bit fuzzy.
Yeah.
You had a great solution for
so
it.
I learned this. So this is how we learn, right? So I have a friend and she's an experienced DOP. She's just done her first feature and we worked together for years on different projects. Yarrow is her name. And we were on a shoot and we were in the middle of a field shooting for the IFA and there was this lady speaking to camera and the hair was flying all over the place. She took out the baby wipes and just dampened down the hair. And seemingly in Ireland, because in Ireland we have this very humid environment for women. I don't know much about that, but that hair flies away. So baby wipes, just rub down, just dampens down the hair.
Yeah, and that made the difference on a day. A cheap solution, but an effective one.
Yeah, absolutely works. And how about yourself?
Oh yeah, one classic tip then is just having a lint roller on set especially when you're under lights. It can really show different fibers, dog hairs, and all that type of stuff as well. So I always have a lint roller on set. So lint rollers and baby wipes.
Yeah. And so we are shooting today on fixed chairs.
Yes, not swivel chairs. Otherwise.
So you learn at the beginning if you put the subject on a swivel chair, they might just start moving around.
Especially if they're nervous. Yeah. And then you end up with a squeaky chair then as well.
And squeaky chairs don't work for audio as well. And we always do. And people don't realize because they never see it is when a person is speaking and looking into camera, we mark where they are. So that we can always have them.
We can replicate the shot each time.
Exactly.
Yeah. Also, that's obviously a lot of information to take on board, and it's a great way of summarizing the whole process from start to finish, from pre-production, production, and post-production. I guess in summary, when it comes to clients' scope and work, I hope we've informed them of that, and it's helped give an idea of what can inform the cost then as well.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of prep work. You might have a lot of people on set on the day, and then the editing process itself, depending on the scope of the work, could take a long amount of time. Again, like I'm saying, depending on the scope of the work. That would have been covered as well in contracts at the start and an idea of what the overall turnaround time would be and the revision process.
And contracts are great, right? I always try and get clients to sign a contract because it's like an FAQ.
Yeah, pretty much.
Of what we expect and what they should expect as well.
And everyone's literally on the same page. Yeah,
literally on the same page.
That's the most important part. Well, Paul, thanks very much for coming on today. It was great to have you, and I hope that's helped inform everyone on the wonders of video production.
It was great being here.
So there you have it. Over the course of Video Vantage, we've discussed everything you need to know when considering investing in video production for your business. We've had insightful conversations about marketing strategy, funding, branding on social media, the world of algorithms and SEO, confidence on camera, and behind the scenes of video production itself. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions about the topics raised in today's episode, please don't hesitate to get in touch via the Media Mill website at mediamill.ie. Finally, I'd just like to say thanks to everyone who was involved in helping me put this project together. It's very much appreciated. So, for one last time, I've been your host, Mark O'Connor, and thanks for joining me on Video Vantage.